There I was, minding my own business, enjoying a peaceful nap in my cozy dorm room at the University of Nowhere Special. Then, boom, I'm jolted awake by the sensation of free fall and the scream of the wind in my ears. Next thing I know, I'm face down in the dirt, staring up at three suns and a sky that looks like a disco threw up on it. "Welcome to Gloopnar Prime," a voice crackled in my ear. "Population, you!" I groaned, spitting out a mouthful of what tasted like moldy cotton candy. A holographic image flickered to life in front of me, featuring a toothy purple alien who looked like he moonlighted as a nightmare. "Congrats, human," the alien drawled. "You've been selected for the Intergalactic Survival Test. Good luck, and try not to die too quickly." The hologram fizzled out before I could respond with a well-deserved expletive. I stood up, dusting myself off and taking in my surroundings. Alien flora and fauna filled my vision, some of which were staring at me hungrily. Great. I checked my pockets, a half-eaten granola bar, my student ID, and a phone with zero signal. Perfect. Just perfect. All right, time to not die, I muttered to myself, picking a direction at random and trudging off into the alien wilderness. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of the most insane semester of my life. I hadn't been walking for more than an hour when I stumbled upon my first challenge. A pack of creatures that looked like a cross between a velociraptor and a turkey. They were eyeing me like I was the main course at Thanksgiving dinner. "Hey fellas," I said, trying to sound casual as I backed away slowly. "I'm not on the menu, all right?" One of the rap turkeys let out a screech that sounded suspiciously like laughter. I bolted, dodging trees and jumping over roots like an Olympic sprinter. Behind me, the rap turkeys gave chase, their claws clicking menacingly. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs felt like jelly. Just when I thought I couldn't run anymore, I spotted a cave. I dove inside, skidding to a stop on the slick floor. The rap turkey stopped at the entrance, glaring at me with beady eyes before deciding I wasn't worth the effort. "Ha! Take that, you overgrown chickens!" I panted, collapsing against the cave wall. As I caught my breath, I realized I wasn't alone. Glowing eyes stared at me from the darkness, and a low growl echoed through the cave. Because, of course, why would anything go right today? I slowly reached for a rock, ready to defend myself against whatever horror lurked in the cave. The growling grew louder, and a massive, furry creature stepped into the dim light. It looked like a bear, if bears had 6 legs and a face only a mother could love. "Nice bear? Thing," I said, brandishing the rock. "Let's not eat me, okay?" The creature sniffed the air, then huffed and sat down, apparently deciding I wasn't worth the trouble. I let out a sigh of relief and lowered the rock. If I was going to survive here, I needed allies, or at least non-enemies. "All right, big guy," I said, inching closer. "How about we call a truce?" The creature blinked slowly, then resumed whatever it had been doing before I interrupted. I took that as a yes and settled down a safe distance away. "Guess we're roommates now," I said, trying to make myself comfortable on the cave floor. "I'm Sam, by the way." The creature ignored me, but I decided to take that as a positive sign. At least it hadn't tried to eat me yet. Small victories, right? Over the next few days, I settled into a routine. By routine, I mean I stumbled through the alien landscape, desperately trying to figure out how not to die. My bear thing roommate, whom I decided to name Fluffy, followed me around like a bored chaperone. I quickly learned that Gloopnar Prime was a death trap. Everything here either wanted to eat me, poison me, or use me as a scratching post. But I also discovered a few useful things. The local fruits weren't deadly, mostly, and the water from the Blue River didn't melt my insides. One morning, as I was scavenging for food, I heard a rustling in the bushes. I turned to see a small green alien with big eyes and a curious expression. It looked harmless enough, but I wasn't taking any chances. "Stay back," I warned, holding up a stick. "I'm armed and dangerous." The alien tilted its head and made a series of chirping noises. It pointed to my stick and then to its mouth, miming chewing. "You want to eat my stick?" I asked, confused. The alien nodded eagerly. I handed it the stick and it chomped down, chewing happily. "Well, that's one way to make friends," I muttered. The alien finished its snack and looked up at me with a wide grin. It pointed to itself and said, "Zen." "I'm Sam," I replied, figuring introductions couldn't hurt. Zen grabbed my hand and started pulling me toward the forest. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. Fluffy lumbered along behind us, grumbling in protest. Zen led me to a hidden clearing where a group of similar aliens were gathered. They looked up in surprise, then started chirping excitedly. Zen introduced me with a flourish, and I got the sense I was about to become the new novelty in town. As days turned into weeks, I started to adapt to life on Gloopnar Prime. Zen and his tribe, the Zennies, took me under their wing, figuratively speaking. They taught me how to find food, avoid the more dangerous predators, and navigate the bizarre terrain. In return, I showed them a few human tricks, like how to make a fire and create basic tools. Fluffy, despite his initial grumpiness, turned out to be a decent companion. He was like a giant, furry guard dog, scaring off anything that dared to get too close. Plus, he had a knack for finding hidden water sources, which was a lifesaver. One evening, as we sat around a campfire, Zen pointed to the sky and made a whooshing sound. I followed his gaze and saw a small spacecraft zooming across the horizon. "Rescue?" I asked, my heart skipping a beat. Zen nodded and chirped excitedly. He mimed climbing into the spacecraft and flying away. "All right, we need to signal them," I said, jumping to my feet. Fire, smoke, anything to get their attention. The Zennies sprang into action, gathering dry branches and leaves. We built a massive bonfire, the flames licking the sky and sending a column of smoke high into the air. As the spacecraft drew closer, I waved my arms and shouted, hoping against hope that they would see us. The ship hovered above us, and a beam of light enveloped me. "This is it!" I shouted, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. "We're going home!" The beam lifted me off the ground, and I felt a rush of wind as I ascended toward the ship. I looked down to see Zen and the others waving, their faces filled with hope. As I was pulled into the spacecraft, I couldn't help but smile. Against all odds, I had survived Gloopnar Prime. Now, it was time to see what other adventures awaited me in the great unknown. As the ship's hatch closed behind me, I was greeted by a tall, imposing figure in a sleek uniform. He had blue skin, 4 eyes, and an expression that could curdle milk. "Welcome aboard," he said in a deep, gravelly voice. "I am Commander Vrex of the Galactic Council." Thanks," I replied, still trying to process everything. "I'm Sam. Nice to meet you." Vrex raised an eyebrow, or whatever the alien equivalent was. "You are the human from Gloopnar Prime, correct?" "Yeah, that's me," I said, scratching my head. "What's going on? Are you here to rescue me?" "Rescue?" Vrex let out a bark of laughter. "Hardly. You are now a contestant in the Intergalactic Survival Games." I blinked, trying to wrap my head around his words. "The what?" "The Intergalactic Survival Games," Vrex repeated, clearly enjoying my confusion. "A competition where beings from different planets are pitted against each other in a series of challenges. You have been selected as Earth's representative." "Wait a minute," I said, holding up a hand. "I didn't sign up for any games. I just want to go home." "Unfortunately, that's not an option," Vrex said, his tone turning serious. "The games are mandatory. Your only way out is to win." I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. Just when I thought I was getting out of one mess, I was thrown into another. "Great," I muttered. "Just great." I was given a brief orientation, which basically boiled down to try not to die, and then shoved into an arena with a dozen other contestants. The arena was a bizarre mix of environments: desert, jungle, icy tundra, and more. Each area had its own dangers and challenges. Our first task was simple: retrieve a flag from the center of the arena and bring it back to our starting point. Simple, except for the fact that the arena was filled with traps and hostile creatures. I teamed up with a few other contestants, figuring there was strength in numbers. There was Crix, a lizard-like alien with a penchant for setting things on fire; Lyra, a humanoid with telekinetic powers; and Bob, a blob of goo who could change shape at will. "All right, team," I said, trying to sound confident. "Let's get that flag and get out of here." We set off toward the center of the arena, dodging traps and fending off creatures that looked like they belonged in a horror movie. Crick set fire to anything that moved. Lyra used her powers to clear obstacles, and Bob mostly just oozed along behind us. We reached the flag without too much trouble, but getting back was another story. As we sprinted toward our starting point, the other contestants turned on us, trying to steal the flag. "Go, go, go!" I shouted, as Crix unleashed a wall of fire to slow our pursuers. Lyra used her telekinesis to lift Bob and the flag, propelling them forward. I covered the rear, swinging a makeshift club at anyone who got too close. We crossed the finish line, panting and covered in sweat and alien goo, but victorious. "One challenge down," I said, grinning despite myself. "Only 1,000,000 more to go." The next few challenges were a blur of chaos and adrenaline. We faced everything from deadly mazes to gladiator-style battles. Through it all, our little team stuck together, forming an unlikely but effective alliance. One day, as we were resting between challenges, a new contestant was thrown into the arena. She was tall, with bright blue skin and eyes that seemed to see right through you. She introduced herself as Lyra, a warrior from a distant planet. "Mind if I join you?" Lyra asked, her voice calm and confident. We exchanged glances, then nodded. "The more, the merrier," I said, extending a hand. "Welcome to the team." Lyra proved to be a valuable addition. She was strong, smart, and had a knack for strategy. With her help, we started to climb the ranks, winning challenge after challenge. One evening, as we sat around a campfire, Lyra turned to me with a serious expression. "I have a plan," she said, her voice low. "A way for us to win the games and get out of here." I leaned forward, intrigued. "I'm listening." Lyra outlined her plan. We would use the next challenge, a massive obstacle course, to our advantage. While the other contestants were busy competing, we would slip away and find the control center, where we could disable the arena's defenses and signal for help. "It's risky," Lyra admitted, "but it's our best shot." I nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. "Let's do it." The day of the obstacle course arrived, and we put Lyra's plan into action. While the other contestants were busy navigating the course, we slipped away and headed for the control center. The journey was treacherous, filled with traps and security measures designed to keep contestants out. But with Lyra's leadership and our combined skills, we managed to reach the control center. Inside, we found a panel filled with buttons and levers. Lyra quickly went to work, disabling the arena's defenses and sending out a distress signal. As we waited for a response, the door burst open, and Commander Vrex stormed in, flanked by guards. "You meddling pests!" he snarled. "You think you can escape the games?" "We're not playing by your rules anymore," I said, stepping forward. Vrex lunged at us, but Lyra was faster. She disarmed him with a swift kick and pinned him to the ground. "Help is on the way," Lyra said, holding Vrex in place. "Your games are over." A few tense minutes later, a rescue team arrived, whisking us away from the arena and bringing us to safety. Back on Earth, I found it hard to believe everything that had happened. The games, the challenges, the friendships, we had survived it all. Lyra and the others decided to stay, becoming ambassadors for their respective planets and helping to bridge the gap between our worlds. As for me, I returned to my life, but with a newfound appreciation for adventure and the unexpected twists life could throw my way. One evening, as I sat in my dorm room, I received a message from Lyra. "Hey Sam," it read, "up for another adventure?" I smiled, feeling that familiar rush of excitement. "Always," I replied, ready for whatever came next. Because if there was one thing I had learned, it was that life, whether on Earth or an alien world, was full of surprises. And I was ready to face them all, head on.